and you're not embarrassed, go to the bank, start your own businesses, and deal with your own people. I want to see your own women get on their hands and knees and do pedicures.
To y'all who keep asking why they so mad that we just decide to retreat our money, it's because this our first direct deposit as black people. It's a wealth transfer. All of that money that we were spending in their businesses are now going to black businesses, black techs. It's a wealth transfer. Congratulations. That's our first direct deposit. Let's keep it up. Cause everybody need to be on the list.
What are your thoughts, Crystal, about this? First and foremost, let's look at the elephant in the room. You want to be black. The way you're wearing your hat, the way you're speaking, everything you're saying, sweetheart, you learned English from watching these same rap videos that you're talking about. Stop playing with me. Secondly, let's really talk about it. The African American dollar, hence Target, you saw this. If we pull our money away, the economy will crash. Black dollar is over 1.9 trillion. Asian dollar is less than $1 trillion. That's right. They only support their own color. That's right. Yet you build beauty supplies, Chinese restaurants, nail salons. As soon as a plaza comes up, what's the first thing that drops in it?
Chinese restaurant.
Especially in a black area. Yeah. Why? Because no one else is going to spend with you. Those same white people in that white neighborhood that you live in, you do that because you want to blend in, but you still need the black dollar to be relatable. So please, don't speak for all Asians because I know he can't. Not every Asian thinks this way. There's some beautiful Asian people out there, and I know a lot of them. But sir, you want to be black. You want to be Tuwon Fu Waka Flocka Jack. Like, stop playing with me, please. pick a side and move on. Stop.
In this world, there's multiple dollars that are powerful. You want to know what the most powerful dollar in this country is? Is the black dollar. We spend the most money. Yes, it might not look that way sometimes because when you go to Wall Street in downtown, you're going to see all these like rich ass folk or whatever that's not really our color, but it looks like that to an extent because the government wants it that way. Whole time, that's not the reality though. That's never the reality. Who Jordan's owned by? A black man. And that's just one example. And you know us, like we love looking fly. We love looking the best. And guess what we do? We pour money into these brands like Gucci, Louis, Prada, all of them. And they're going to sit there and say something. They're not going to try to represent us. But it's true, though. They know where it's at.
Once we really start putting that shit on, they ain't even going no for real.
With respect to corporate responsibility, we have always had to make the case that it's better to do business with us because we are your market. Yes. If you look just across the railroad track, my dad would say there's money, market, and opportunity. You don't have to go to foreign lands. If we invest in education right here, you have all these African American people willing to do work with you and willing to do work for you. But we have to invest in ourselves. And what the shame is that we find $200 billion extra dollars for the military, and that's budgeted. And we find $2 or $3 billion a week to fight fiat foreign wars. And every school system in the country is fighting for $1 million here, $2 million there, trying to plug a hole for $20 million. If we were to set the priorities of the country right, we could solve the education crisis. With respect to the businesses, when we solve the education crisis, we have to hold the companies accountable. That's right. We have to. And we have to use our dollars with discipline.
Hello family. Today we are discussing a story that has sparked heated debate across social media and within many communities across America, where the conversation centers around the economic power of the black consumers and what happens when a community decides to withdraw its spending from businesses it believes have disrespected them and mistreated them. And according to many activists and many commentators online today, some business owners who once underestimated the influence of the black consumers are now being forced to rethink their position after facing declines in sales, empty stores, and growing community backlash. But this story is not just about one group versus another, my people. It's about a much big question. How much economic power do the black Americans actually have in America? And what happens when that power is organized and strategically used by themselves? Now, my people, stay tuned because the numbers behind this conversation may surprise you. Like this video, subscribe, and follow for more.
We were segregated. Our black dollar didn't really leave our neighborhood. Facts. And just like, what is that, in Tulsa, the black wash? Oh, remember where it did? I think it was like green. It's like a whole bunch of them. And regardless of the reason, Lake Lanier.
What about the thing you sent me the other day?
Y'all gonna go thrive without us?
Yeah.
And y'all need us like to. So it's just like I told y'all 5 things: schools, banks, hospitals, grocery stores, and some type of police, army.
Y'all stop. Y'all about to make me cry for real. Like, I just finished work. It's 6:56. I just finished. The phone been ringing off the hook non-stop. We need another nail tech. Just know we need another nail tech. If y'all know any black nail techs in the city of New Orleans that's looking for a job, looking for a nail home, send them my way, please.
Watching so many Asian Americans show their entire anti-black backside in videos and comment sections regarding the acquittal of Rick Chow and the call to boycott Asian businesses, and now the cross burning in Chicago, has been a masterclass in how racism is narcissistic abuse. Because so many ricecrackers are out here yelling and screaming as though black people somehow did something to us, when all they want is to be left alone. So first of all, Rick Chow was acquitted. I don't know how anybody with a shred of intellectual honesty or morals can be at peace with that, but Rick Chow was acquitted. So for you to be making videos or going into black people's comment sections arguing as if they're the problem and you're somehow the victim because you feel unpopular in this moment because Rick Chow was acquitted is narcissism at best and malicious hatred at worst. As for the boycotts, Asian Americans are not entitled to black people's money, plain and simple. Business 101, provide quality goods, quality service, and treat your customers with respect. But if you've made a habit of providing subpar goods and subpar service and disrespecting your customers, rest assured, your business is not being judged on the basis of one Rick Chow. Your business is being judged for what it is. If you go into a black neighborhood and open a business and you've made a habit of treating black customers like they're the problem, pitching a fit and playing victim when your black customers say, we won't be bothering you anymore, is narcissistic abuse. And finally, the cross burning. For the past 18 months, black Americans have been living under an administration that has been overtly organizing for decades to do everything it can to drag the country back to Jim Crow. And the sick plot twist and the fuckery that was passing the Hart-Celler Act a year after the Civil Rights Act and making Asian Americans the new window dressing on the myth of the American dream is that in the past week, it was Asian Americans who actually did it. The acquittal of Rick Chow brings us back to 1991 and the killing of LaTosha Harlins, and the cross burning in broad daylight in Chicago brings us right back to Jim Crow. And the thing is, black Americans know who holds systemic power. Black Americans know better than anybody else what it is to never be viewed as an individual and to be condemned as a community for the actions of a few. So they also don't need to be told not to do that to other people. Black Americans are not judging Asian Americans on the basis of one Rick Chow or whoever burned the cross. They are simply responding to over 60 years of our community pushing them away with our escalating anti-black antics. And if you don't like the way that feels, rather than treating black people like they're the problem, we have to start by rooting out the infestation of anti-blackness in our community. And if you're not willing to do that, the very least you can do is leave black people alone and stop asking them to be an audience for your anti-blackness.
All right, guys. So earlier I said something about the black dollar. And let me be clear, when I say the black dollar is powerful. And I'm going to say this, I'll just give you 2 instances. We as black people, which we probably need to be better or be like other races, They have budgets. They stick to their budgets. You may have Karen and little Jennifer go into the Walmart and they already have $40 in mind to spend, and that's what they're going to spend or less. But when me, Tamika, and little Juju go into the store, we can have $200 in our pocket. And for whatever we may want out of this store, if it's $199.99, guess what? Walmart is getting it all. We don't have a budget. And I don't know if that makes us dumber than the others, but I'm just saying the black dollar is more powerful because we have no budget. We have no budget in mind when we go in stores. We will go into a store and spend that $200 like nothing because we know we get paid tomorrow. But other races will go in there again with that $40 in mind, and they're going to spend nothing but that $40 or less. And that is what I meant by the black dollar is more powerful, not more powerful in the world, but more powerful to people who are selling stuff to the market. It's more powerful to them because we're throwing it up like it's nothing. And that's what we do. I don't know if that's good or bad. I know it's not a good thing, but still, that is what I meant when I say the black dollar is more powerful to the people who are selling products. It is, because we have no budget and we don't stick to a budget. We go in there and just spend it. Oh, so just tell me, Publix, would you like Karen and little Jennifer to come in there with their $40? Or Tamika and little Juju without $200? Make it make sense.
Child, y'all better pay attention to what's happening right now. Cracker Barrel, struggling. Target, struggling. Hospitals, shutting down. Why? Because the white dollar by itself won't keep these companies afloat. And while they play DEI, baby, they need our talent, ingenuity, and brilliance. And when black folks start pulling back their talent, their time, child, struggling. And we already seen what happened to Target. And when we start pulling our money back, baby, they gonna find out. See, what some white folks don't understand is this. Black people are a gift. Our ingenuity, our creativity, our brilliance. It's been the lifeline of this country. We've poured into it, even when this country gave us nothing in return. And let's not forget our buying power. Our buying power hit over $1.7 trillion in 2023. Baby, that's not pocket change. That's why we see these corporations chase us when they need us. But the second they're done, baby, they toss us to the side. And that's why I don't care if Cracker Barrel puts a poster of Barack Obama up. Baby, I'm still not eating there. And I don't care if Carnival Cruises comes crawling back talking about we love diversity. I see the game. I won't be back. And Target, let me be real clear. The last time I stepped foot in that store was the last time. Period. Y'all don't get to play in our faces. Use us when it's convenient, then toss us aside. Not anymore. Because above all, this country understands the dollar sign. And it's time we start reserving ours for us. That's why I keep saying black love, black unity, black strategy, black community. Because, baby, we need to build our own infrastructures from soup to nuts so we won't be out here begging for a seat at their table anymore. Baby, those days are over. So if that resonates with you, join the movement. Baby, everybody won't get it. And that's fine. But those that do, we're still building. So drink your water. Stay rooted, real, and knowledgeable. And mind your black business. Happy Black History 365. and I'll see you next time.
Black buying power is a myth, and it's not a harmless one. The myth says that Black America has $1.7 trillion in buying power, and if we just spent that money differently, supported Black businesses, kept the dollar in the community, practiced financial literacy, we could close the wealth gap and achieve economic freedom. That sounds empowering, but it's also a lie. Here's what the myth is. Buying power is a marketing term, not an economic measure. It refers to how much money a group might spend on goods that already exist. It doesn't measure wealth, ownership, capital, or who profits after the transaction. These trillion-dollar figures come from firms like Nielsen and the Selig Center. They extrapolate from surveys, make assumptions about spending they don't actually measure, and conflate income with wealth. The numbers are projections sold to corporations so that they can target Black consumers. Meanwhile, median Black household wealth is $11,000, and for white households, it's around $142,000. You can't have massive buying power and almost no wealth at the same time, unless buying power is measuring how much money flows through your hands before someone else takes it, which is exactly what it measures. Now here's why it's harmful. First, it reassigns blame. Instead of asking why Black people were systematically excluded from wealth through redlining, wage suppression, mass incarceration, and predatory lending, the conversation becomes about spending habits. Poverty stops being a policy outcome and becomes personal failure. Second, it misdirects our energy. When we focus on where we should shop instead of who owns what, on financial literacy instead of wealth redistribution, on circulation instead of capital accumulation, we're fighting the wrong fight. We waste time and resources on solutions that cannot structurally work. Third, it serves those in power. Corporations get to market to Black consumers without addressing exploitation. Politicians avoid reparations and structural reform. And the Black business class gets to position itself as leadership while the Black working class stays dispossessed. Fourth, it's been deployed as containment. Every time Black movements radicalize and demand real power, the message shifts from organizing to shopping, from redistribution to entrepreneurship. Nixon promoted Black capitalism to counter the Black Panthers, and this pattern repeats throughout history. Fifth, it creates false hope. The myth promises agency without confrontation. You could feel like you're doing something supporting Black businesses, being financially responsible, without threatening the system. But as economist Abraham Harris explained in 1936, Black communities lack outside investment, access to capital markets, and the ability to overcome elites with control over political power and policy. Buying power can't fix structural exclusion. Sixth, it protects inequality. When inequality feels personal, not political, the system that created it stays untouched. Shopping becomes a substitute for organizing, entrepreneurship becomes a substitute for redistribution, and visibility becomes a substitute for power. Now here's the bottom line. No group in history has ever shopped its way out of oppression. Real economic power comes from ownership, policy, and political control, not consumer choice. The myth of Black buying power trains us to confuse spending with power and visibility with liberation. As long as we keep mistaking shopping for strategy, the wealth gap widens, the dispossession continues, and the system stays exactly where it is. If you want to learn more, read this book, The Myth of Black Buying Power by Dr. Jared Ball, and check out his YouTube, I Mix What I Like. I'm Dr. Van, here to help you understand Black buying power is a myth to get us away from a meaningful systemic shift. And you can still support a Black business. You can segregate people, but you cannot segregate money.
There is a little Asian restaurant next to my daughter's music lessons, and every time I go in there, every other Saturday, lady's super nice, super respectful. Sometimes her kids are in there, they're playing games, doing her homework, whatever the case may be. I don't know if the gentleman's her husband or brother or whatever, but they're always laughing, having a good old time. I come in, she says, thank you, no sir. Very respectful to me and my children when I bring them in there. And I say all that to say, I don't give a fuck that she's respectful. I don't give a fuck that she's a nice lady. Overall, the Asian community does not respect the Black community. So I'm not going to put my Black dollars with that Asian lady no more. Not because she herself is an individual piece of shit, but because of what I have seen in the past 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, ever since the Cho verdict has been read. I won't be spending my money anywhere Asian for a long time. Y'all do what y'all want with that, like information, like and follow. I hope y'all do the same. Enjoy your
Class market, a profitable, above-average income group of consumers. For example, the nation's largest newspaper and magazine research organization, Daniel Starch and Staff, reports these significant figures. More than 51% of the readers of Ebony magazine have a record player in their homes. Almost 64% own a television set. And almost 78% enjoy the convenience of an electric refrigerator. It is also a fact, and this is from the magazine The Food Field Reporter, that Negroes spend almost $3 billion a year for food alone. Per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone else in the country. And their children are better educated, too, because since 1930, enrollment in Negro colleges is up 2,500%. But really, to recognize the importance of this class Negro market, we must realize that something has been happening economically in our country. People are on the move. The population is shifting. The makeup of metropolitan populations today is different than it was just a few short years ago. To give you a better idea of what we mean, we set up several cameras, candid cameras, in a number of shopping locations. Take a look at these shoppers. Notice what a large proportion of them are Negro. What's the reason? It's simply this. Negro families are moving into the cities where there are more job opportunities. Here they find occupations with more prestige and security, jobs that pay more money. As a result, Negro families today often make up the largest part of Central City consumer prospects. A shoe store in Chicago's Loop, for example, reports that more than 50% of its customers are Negroes. In another case, a drugstore located at a transfer point in a non-Negro neighborhood finds that its Negro customers total 25%. The trend is plain. The new Negro families today are moving into more populated areas, to the cities, where there are more stores, more buying opportunities. Since 1940, in San Francisco alone, the Negro market has increased by 89%. In Chicago, by 81%. Houston, Texas, 45%. Philadelphia, 50%. The impact of this new buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support. A product must have the backing of this big new buying power to be a leader in the field. What do you have to sell? Chewing gum or cars? Toothpaste or transportation? Whatever it is, here are millions of prospects, and these prospects are everywhere. Negro customers can no longer be pigeonholed. They cannot be classified as prospects who trade only in certain stores, certain neighborhoods. Today, Negroes shop downtown. They shop in supermarkets. They shop in small neighborhood stores. They'll buy from anyone who wants to sell to them. But we all know...
Guys, for decades, economists have pointed out that Black Americans represent one of the largest consumer markets in the United States. Because every year, Black consumers contribute hundreds of billions, and by some estimates, well over $1 trillion in purchasing power to the American economy. Guys, we are talking about spending on clothing. We are talking about spending on food. We are talking about spending on electricity. We are talking about beauty products. We are talking about entertainment. We are talking about transportation. We are talking about housing. Visually, every major industry benefits from the Black consumer spending. Yet despite this enormous economic influence, many critics argue that Black communities have not always received the level of respect that they deserve. They have not received investment or consumer service from certain businesses that eagerly accept their money. And that's where boycotts enters the conversation, my people. History has shown that organized boycotts can become powerful tools for social and economic change. And when consumers stop spending their money at a business they believe have acted unfairly to them, companies often feel the pinch or the impact very quickly because every business depends on customers. No customers, no sales, no profits, no business. That's why many activists have long argued that economic pressure can sometimes be more effective than protests alone. And when a business sees revenue decline, management begins paying much attention. When profits disappear, attitudes often change. And when entire communities organize together, the impact can become impossible to ignore by those companies or by those businesses. One thing that makes today's boycotts different from those in the past is the social media that we have. YouTube, TikTok, X, name it. Years ago, a local dispute might just stay local. But today, one incident can go viral just overnight, just within seconds. It is global. And millions of people can see a video. Millions of people can even hear those allegations. Millions of people can judge. Millions can even decide whether they want to support businesses or not. That level of visibility has changed the relationship between businesses and the consumers because companies can no longer assume customers will remain silent. They will speak out. Consumers now have the ability to organize, they can mobilize, and spread information faster longer than before. And at the heart of this debate is a simple principle that people want, which is respect. Most consumers don't expect perfections. They do expect fairness. They expect to be treated with dignity. They expect businesses to value them not just as consumers, but as also human beings. And when people feel respected, my people, they continue spending. When they feel disrespected, they often take their money elsewhere. It's just really that simple. Many business experts will tell you that consumers' loyalty is not just built on one product. It is built on trust. And once that trust is broken by business owners, rebuilding it can extremely be difficult. And whether business is a black-owned, or Asian-owned, or white-owned, or Hispanic-owned, or even owned by anyone else, the lesson remains the same, my people. Never underestimate your consumers. Never underestimate your customers. Never underestimate your buyers. Never assume that people will continue supporting a business that they believe does not respect them. And never forget that consumers ultimately have choices. And their dollars can be spent in anything because they are the ones making decisions on what to consume. This discussion is also raising a broader question within the black community because many people are asking, what happens if more black spendings was intentionally directed towards black-owned businesses? Could more wealth stay within the black community, my people? Talk to me in the comment section. What do you think? Could more wealth stay within your own black community? Could more jobs be created within the black community? Could more businesses grow and expand? These are questions that black Americans, activists, and community leaders have debated for decades and decades. But regardless of where someone stands politically, my people, one thing is difficult to deny, that economic power matters a lot in a country. Those who control spendings often have influence. Those who organize spendings often have leverages. And communities that understand their economic strength are often in better position to advocate for themselves. At the end of the day, my people, this story is about more than empty stores. It's about understanding the value of customers or consumers. It's about recognizing the importance of community relationship, and it's about remembering that respect and economics are often connected together because businesses need consumers, consumers need businesses. But the relationship works best when both sides value each other. Guys, what do you think about this video in the comment section? Please talk to me. And of course, if you love this video, subscribe for more.